So the topic I had picked out for this week was making clothes as gifts. So making garments when you don't know the exact measurements of the person you're making them for. And I intended to start this project over the weekend, and it's now Thursday. Why is this a problem? Because I chose to make some clothes for my girlfriend, because she's the most loyal viewer of this channel, and she's coming on Friday, which is tomorrow, which is also the day I'm supposed to post this video. So there will be an added twist in this week's video, which is making clothes as gifts at warp speed because you didn't budget enough time. So hopefully I'm still able to make them turn out nice, and you will get some advice on making very quick garments. Also, I made a theme song for my channel, so here you go. Wasn't that fun? Let's get started. Alright, so here are my supplies for this project. I got some fabrics, I got some matching threads, I got some sketches. I'm not going to follow them exactly, but I'm thinking this sort of like poofy sleeve deal for the green, this lace-up sides deal for the purple, and then for the blue, I actually think I might make a paper bag waist skirt, which I didn't sketch out, but I just had the idea for. And I like. So these two fabrics are pretty stretchy, which is definitely going to be useful in the not knowing somebody's exact size arena. And the blue one is not very stretchy, but I'm going to use some elastic in that design to make that work. Okay, I'm about to explain to you what I'm about to do, but I don't fully understand what I'm about to do, so we're going to work through it together. Also, I've grown really fond of using this mirror as my little talking head place, so expect a lot more of that to come. Anyway, we are working on cutting out the purple shirt, and there's a lot of math here, and math is the part of sewing that gets me hecked up. So we're going to take it slow. Basically, this piece of fabric is folded over here, and it is folded over here. I am making a shirt with lace-up sides, so I want 38 inches of coverage, meaning that if you lace it tight, it will be 38 inches, and you could lace it looser and make it bigger. So because this is folded over, I only need half of 38 inches, which is 19 inches. Right? Yes, 19 inches. And then this fold is going to be because I'm going to cut out every piece twice, because I want it to be double thickness. So the center front is going here. So it's going to be, this is going to be the top line, and this is going to be the bottom line. So I'm going to cut out 2 pieces, but they're going to become 3 pieces when I take this all apart because of this fold, but that's actually 6 pieces because it's doubled up for aligning. This makes sense, I promise. So basically, this is the center front, so I'm going to have it a little higher here, and then I'm going to have it dip down to the height that I want the back piece to be. This is going to be the 2 back pieces. This is going to be the 1 front piece. It will work. I have confidence. Let's do this. Also, just remember that all those measurements also have to have seam allowance added to them. So I usually go with a 1/2 inch. So it's a bit hard to see, but I first sketched out the shapes I wanted in chalk, and then I cut it out. I also realized that there's no reason for there to be an opening in the back because it is a side closure shirt. So I actually wound up just cutting that back panel longer and then ditching half of them. I've just realized it was really dumb to cut that open because I could have just flipped it up and used that as a seam because I'm gonna sew them back together, but I guess I could claim it was for style points, but that's just, gotta roll with it. Roll with it. Then I sewed all those pieces to their lining pieces, right sides together, flipped them inside out, and did some top stitching along the top and bottom to hold everything in place. I didn't do any top stitching around the sides because I figured everything would get held in place by the grommets. And here we have some footage of me making straps, but you're not going to see these again because they were not good. That did not work. Not even a little. So what do we do when our straps don't work and we're too lazy to try to make them work? We head over to our sewing cabinet and we pull out the trim bucket. That's right, the beautiful, beautiful trim bucket. And then we rummage through it in search of something else that we could use to make straps and to lace up the sides of this. Next, I pounded in 5 grommets along the sides of the back piece and the sides of the front piece, and I put 2 grommets along the top of both for a shoulder strap to tie into. I laced it up with some ribbon found in that magical trim bucket, and it was done. I realized I could set the camera on the tripod for these little talking heads and it wouldn't wobble. So, if the camera's on the tripod, I guess there's not really necessarily a reason to do this in a mirror instead of just turning it to look good. Okay, so that purple shirt was more difficult than I thought it was going to be, and now it's like 8:30 and I have a little bit of a headache and I'm kind of tired, but I'm gonna keep going. Okay, so it's time to get started cutting out the green blouse, which is just going to be basically rectangles that will have elastic at the top and bottom. A big one for the body, 2 small ones for the sleeves, and they're going to be very poofy. I'm just going to make it as tall as this because it feels like that's going to be fine, it feels like. But as I'm cutting, I wanted to talk a little bit about one size fits all clothing, because I know that the theme of this video is making clothes when you don't know somebody's size, but I really want to emphasize that I don't believe in one size fits all clothing. That's fake, because basically bodies are so diverse and sizes are such a wide range, like outside of what traditional fashion considers to be the range of sizes, that one size fits all is never going to include everybody. So when I say like clothes for when you don't know somebody's size, what I really mean is clothes for when you don't know like their exact measurements. So for example, like my girlfriend, we're talking about her a lot, but they're her clothes, so I think that's fine. I don't know like her exact measurements, but I know roughly her size. Like, you know, I see her on a regular basis. You know, I hug her, I know how big around she is. So that's why I can like guesstimate things. I do not recommend guesstimating if you truly don't know somebody's size at all. Like, you could maybe ask them what size clothes they buy, or for a rough estimate of how big they are, or if you truly don't see them enough to guesstimate any kind of size, you probably don't like them enough to make them clothes, so save yourself the time. That's my advice. Also, I probably have her measurements somewhere actually, because we were in plays together in college and I designed the costumes for one of them. And I had all the cast's measurements on my phone at one point, but I thought that would be kind of silly because I know that like my weight has changed a lot since I left college and entered a global pandemic, and I eat differently, I exercise differently, so I didn't think that even measurements from like, that show was only like a year ago, but even measurements from that probably don't represent our current bodies very well, and would probably be pretty useless in making clothes for either of us. So I just went with clothes that would fit her, no matter whether or not she had changed since those measurements were taken. Basically, the point of me telling you all these things are just one size fits all is bullshit, and everybody's body changes all the time, so it can be kind of nice to have some clothes in your wardrobe that are changing with you, if you feel like you're changing often, as I know I am. So at the end of all this cutting out, I had 2 large rectangles that I sewed together to make one larger rectangle that became the torso, and then 2 small rectangles that became the sleeves. Okay, this footage is not the most descriptive, but I promise you this was so easy that you're gonna understand it with just a little bit of explaining. Basically, you just sew your 2 large pieces of fabric together to create an even larger piece of fabric, and then you fold down the top and hem it. You could do a rolled hem. I didn't need to because mine wasn't fraying. So basically, you just fold down the top, fold up the bottom, and you sew along that edge, and then you sew a second line about 1/4 of an inch away, depending on how thick your elastic is. Then you can just thread elastic through that channel that you've just created, and it will cinch the top and cinch the bottom, and you just sandwich that elastic in when you sew up that one remaining side seam, and then you have this poofy, bubbly top. And the sleeves are just the exact same thing, but done smaller, and then you just tack them down under the arms. It is so easy. 10 out of 10, would recommend. Okay, so I tried it on just to see how it like functions, and I'm feeling so great. I just basically made sleeves the same way I made the bodice, and then I tacked them together under the arm, and it looks weird over my dress, but I think it's gonna be super cute as a shirt, and I also think I might steal it from her sometimes. It's gonna be so tempting. I love this color, and I really like it, but I'm gonna try to let her have it for at least a good long while before I get my little thievy raccoon hands in her dresser. But feeling good about this. So I laid down on my sewing bed, and now I just want to stay here, but I still have the skirt to make, so I'm trying to find some motivation to get me off of this bed. I know it's gonna be easy because I'm just gonna do the top the same way I did the top and bottom of that blouse, so it's gonna be like quick and snappy, and I'm hoping to get a little bit of a belt on it maybe, but the bed is just so comfy. I'm just gonna think of nice things my girlfriend has done for me and use that as motivation to finish this project. She always gets me cups of water when I need water. Like, I don't think I've ever gone to another room to get a glass of water since we've been dating. I make her do it every single time. I should finish this for her. Just for the water thing. That's actually really nice. I should finish this. Okay. That was the motivation I needed. I'm on it. The skirt started out as also just rectangles. I cut this big rectangle, and then I cut along the fold so that it was 2 smaller rectangles. But then I decided I wanted to add some shaping to make it a little bit more A-line. So I folded it over, so what you see here is now 4 layers of fabric, and then I cut out these triangles to shape it. And this isn't something I would necessarily recommend actually, because I realized later that this could create a varying hem length and it could fall kind of wonky. I don't think you wound up noticing that on the finished garment, but that's definitely a risk you're gonna run if you go with this method. I put all these pieces together with French seams, which just means you sew the wrong sides of the fabric together, and then you trim away the seam allowance, and then you sew them back right sides together, encapsulating all the raw edges. I gave it a hem. I did the same treatment to the top of it as I did to the top and bottom of the green shirt, and it was done. So I've just hemmed this, and I'm gonna be honest with you, the hem is like up at certain points, but I don't get close-up shots in my final reveals, so you guys won't know. So I'm just gonna leave it for tomorrow, and then I'll fix it for her later, make it all pretty. But for now, you guys would never know if I didn't tell you. But I like to have an honest relationship with my viewers. Not so honest that I'll show it to you, but honest enough that I'll tell you I'm not showing you. Okay, I can't lie, I'm a little shocked at how good this looks. I mean, if you zoom in on the hem, there would definitely be a few issues, but like overall, this is very cute. And here are all of those finished garments being modeled by my very beautiful and very patient with my terrible modeling direction girlfriend, Andrea. I realize I've never actually referred to her by name in this entire video, but there it is, it's Andrea. Isn't it pretty? It's German. And there she is with a picture of us camping that's on my wall. Okay, what would your estimation be of how long they took me to make?
Okay, could you give me just like a baseline of like an average garment, like an average dress, say?
No.
Okay.
Use them to guess.
All 3 of them combined?
Yeah.
Okay. 10 hours?
It was 6.
Oh.
I thought you were gonna guess higher than 10, and then 6 is gonna be more impressive.
That's why I was thinking so carefully about what I guessed, because I needed to make.
No, it's fine. Do you like them?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do, genuinely.
Okay.